I think you do have to, you need to share some intel reports. I think that's something you need to do. And I say this because there was a lot of speculation in the wake of 9/11. Gosh, I remember the blame game. I was in 9/11, I was like, what, 21, 22. And I remember all of the back and forth on news networks and, oh my gosh, on radio and in the newspapers and everything else. And I was already writing online at this time. So I was watching everything. There were questions as to whether or not the delay of transition in that election between Gore and Bush, what effect it had on preparation before 9/11. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to happen. Please, let's not everybody get stupid. Drive-bys, particularly. What I am saying is that there is a precedent, or there is some justification for concern about national security and making sure that people are apprised of certain issues that could be concerning. There were a couple of people who have been speaking out that were in the Bush administration. Now, one of those has not been Ari Fleischer, and I really like Ari Fleischer. And I don't think that he has really delved into this, although I expect him to at some point. I do know, and I'm not really, I know that there was a letter that came out that was sent to the GSA last week that Politico got, and they published yesterday. I read this last night. And they were talking about how the delay between Gore and Bush, and because they were not sharing anything with Bush, that somehow made it to where everything was delayed. In fact, even though Clinton did, he let him read some things, but even that was delayed when he finally was like, the outgoing president, Bill Clinton, decided to let then Governor W. read the PDB during the recount process. And the GSA administrator at the time, David Barham, and this is according to Politico, similarly refused to ascertain Bush as the winner until SCOTUS ruled in his favor. Clinton was giving him some of the intel that they were getting in. Now, the 9/11 Commission, now this is what they said, and this is at 9-11commission.gov. It is a 9/11 report PDF. They said, and this is their quote, that the 36-day delay in that transition, quote, cut in half the normal transition period and led to a 6-month delay in staffing as it relates to national security teams. They said the commission concluded that left the country more vulnerable to foreign attack. And I'm just telling you what they said, the officials wrote, quote, for that reason, against the backdrop of the contested election in 2000, the 9/11 Commission recommended the transition should strive to minimize as much as possible the disruption of national security policymaking. Now, I entirely understand concerns that people have. I am not at all opposed to sharing some of the intel reports, especially if there is anything that is happening that anybody needs to be aware of, because I do think at some point you have to set all the partisanship aside. It's not an easy thing to talk about, but you do. Now, I'm not saying for any drive-bys that want to take that to the nth degree, I'm not saying concession, I'm not saying anything like that until things are audited and certified. But I think for the sake of the country and national security, we shouldn't be opposed to making sure anyone who may assume the White House after, the December 23rd electoral deadline, and then when it's certified after that, or cemented after that, I'm not opposed, and I don't think we should be, to making sure that intelligence is shared for any potential threats that may happen early into next year. Again, I think that certain things we have to set partisanship aside. You can still push for auditing. You can still push for all of that. And you can still say we're not going to accept anything until this is done. But I think it's smart to make sure that people are informed.